Hey, what's up? My name's Samuel Leeds, and this is Q&A Sunday, where basically every single week, I do a video every day, but every single week on a Sunday, I like to answer questions that I've had from the previous Q&A Sundays. So I'm going to scroll through, find some questions, answer them right now. As I'm answering these questions, you might have trigger questions that you think, oh, follow-up questions, or just totally new questions, but anything property related that's niggling you or bugging you, please comment below right now. And as I'm answering these questions, next week I'll read the comments and I'll maybe answer your question. I'll do my best to answer as many as I can possible. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe. It massively helps me and it inspires me to do even more and better content when I see that people watch it. And also don't forget to smash that like button as well. I really appreciate that. We've got Darius Morel, who says, hi Samuel, have you ever had to renegotiate the house price after a survey? If so, what's the best way to go about it? Darius, yes, I have had to do that. So basically, when you have a survey on a property, there's different types of surveys you can get. You can get a valuation report. So if you're buying a house for £100,000 and then you go and get it valued by the bank, the lender who's lending you the money for the house, they might say, you know what, you're buying it for 100 grand, but it's only worth 90 grand. So you're paying over the odds, and we're only prepared to lend on the basis that of up to £90,000. So 75% usually up to £90,000, not £100,000. Now some people go, oh man, it got downvalued. I'll have to put £10,000 of my own money in to top up the difference. That's a bad move. When you have a down valuation, it might be that the valuer is just being really conservative. It might be that they're worried about, if it's Brexit or that the property market's dipping a little bit. If you get a down valuation, it's a really good opportunity for you to then renegotiate the price. And I personally would not want to pay more money than the valuation figure was. If it's a survey whereby it's a building survey and they've gone out and they've looked at the property and actually they've found some problems with it, they've found some hidden damp or they've found some issues. If it's a really big issue, like it's structural or it's something that's just meaning that it's going to cost you tens and tens of thousands of pounds to do, you might want to consider pulling out of the deal or renegotiating the price. So if the survey comes up with some work issues, then it's a really good opportunity for you to then renegotiate the price. Of course, it depends on what the strategy is you're doing, but I love it when surveys come back bad. I love it when they find problems. I love it when I get down valuations because it just gives me a reason and an excuse to then get the property even lower. So hope that answers that question. All right, let's see what else we have. So E45 Cream says, hi Samuel, I have a question. When do you know when to sell a house in order to buy a better house? What stage should you be at when you can do this? So I very rarely sell houses. Normally what I do is I refinance them. So if I buy a house and it goes up in value, which means I've got profit, I won't normally sell the house because the thing is, if you sell the house, you're going to have to pay a whole lot of tax on the profit that you make. Whereas if you refinance the house, you don't have to pay any tax on that because it's debt. You're just leveraging the equity of the house. So when it goes up in value, the profit I take out of that house from a refinance and put into another house. So I very rarely sell. It's tax efficient and it means I still get to keep the house rather than having to sell it to buy another one. So that tends to be my strategy. Hope that makes sense. If you've got follow-up questions on that, pop it below. So Sunny Dillon says, hi, I have a question. Per property you buy, how much cash flow should you keep in the bank? Okay, so I don't want to keep loads of money in the bank because if you've got money sat in the bank, it gets bored and it disappears. So I want all my money, or pretty much all my money, to be tied up in investments, which means that my money's working hard for me. It's not getting lazy, sat in a bank doing nothing. However, it's a great question because should you have any money in the bank? Well, probably yes. If it's not in the bank, you do want money that you can access fast for emergencies. So you need money that you can get fast, whether that's in a bank, whether that's in cryptocurrency, whether that's just access to getting loans, but you do need to do that. And the reason is because there could be an emergency such as, if you've got 10 houses and suddenly 3 or 4 boilers all break at once and it's going to cost you £5,000 just in fixing boilers, and you've not got any money in the bank and you've got no money that you've got accessible to you and you haven't got access to any loans or anything like that at all, then that's gonna cause a lot of stress and could potentially bankrupt you. So I don't have any kind of magic formula for this, but what I tend to do is per property, I put 10% of the rent, so not of the profit, but of the whole rent, I put aside into a little pot, which is like my maintenance pot, because residential properties, there are always little repairs and things that need to happen every so often. So I put 10% aside, and then it might be that builds up, and then suddenly some of it goes. So 10% of the rents I put aside. I'm running a business, so I've got lots of staff and stuff like that. So I do also have, a reasonable amount of money in the bank. I don't necessarily want to say what that is on the video, but I'll say this: it's enough to mean that any emergencies or problems, I'm okay, but it's not too much that makes me feel miserable because I know that I've got all this money sat in the bank doing nothing when it should be invested. So that figure is going to be different for different people, but I hope that gives a little bit of insight into how you should view putting money aside from cash flow from properties. Okay, another question here says, how would you go about investing in real estate with a 9-to-5 job for beginners? So the great thing about property investing is it really does not have to be a full-time thing. I mean, a lot of my students that buy properties and invest in property, they make good money doing it, but it's something that they do just part-time on top of their 9-to-5 job, and they just do it in the nooks and crannies of life. So when they're on lunch, instead of scrolling through Facebook, they'll be scrolling through Rightmove. Rather than phoning their friends on the way home to catch up about football, they'll be driving home from work calling estate agents to book in viewings and put in offers. Instead of going shopping on a Saturday and just going around window shopping, looking at watches that you can't afford, on a Saturday, you can go and look around houses that you book viewings for and put forward offers. It's something that it needs to become an habitual part of your lifestyle, and 100% you can do it part-time on top of a 9-to-5 job. So for beginners, what I would probably suggest that you do if you're starting out, I would say number one is educate yourself. So spend time reading books, podcasts, attending seminars. I run the Property Investors Crash Course, which is a free 2-day property investors program. Get down to that, meet with people, network. But also view houses, like get in with estate agents and view houses. Maybe even go to an auction, just be really careful. But if you're doing it from a learning point of view, that's great. Something that I always say when I'm doing anything is, am I learning or am I earning? Because if I'm not learning anything and I'm not earning anything, then I'm not doing it. So just start. Just start. It's never too early to start doing something, even if that's just educating yourself. So Aaron Deegan has said, hi Samuel, I'm trying to convince my dad to refinance our house and invest in property. However, he's concerned that it's not possible because his income is very low and he's only working part-time. Does your income affect whether or not you can refinance a property? Thanks a lot. Okay, so Aaron, thank you so much for your question. It depends. What I would say is, you'll be surprised because sometimes I've met a lot of people that think they can't get a mortgage because maybe they just assume because they've got bad credit, they might have a CCJ, they might have low income, and they just take themselves out of the game. Or maybe some people don't think they can get credit because they've spoke to their bank and their bank has said, we can't give you a mortgage. So it's like, oh, okay, well, I can't get a mortgage. What I would suggest your dad to do is to speak to an independent mortgage broker. If you speak to a good broker, it's incredible. I've known people in their 70s get mortgages. I've known people that are really young. I've known people that have got really low incomes. I've got people that have got CCJ, county court judgment, and they just think, no way. And they can get a mortgage. Now, I'm not a mortgage advisor, so I can't tell you exactly, and it's a very bespoke thing. So you'll need to just phone up a mortgage broker, tell them the situation, and you should know very quickly if you can get a mortgage. But you say here about your dad is concerned that it's not possible. There's no need to be concerned. You can find out within 20 minutes. Just phone a mortgage broker, ask the question, tell them your situation, and you'll find out. So if you've been to a bank and they've said no, that's just one lender that said, no, we can't do it. A mortgage broker has access to hundreds of lenders, and then they'll find someone that can, hopefully. If it's a buy-to-let property that you're refinancing, they don't really care too much about your income at all. If it's a residential house that you're living in, they do care more about your income, but please do go and speak to a mortgage broker. Guys, that's all we have time for tonight. I hope you found that helpful and useful and educational. If you've got questions you want me to answer, please, as I said, do comment them below. And I really appreciate it if you would subscribe, smash that like button, and tune in for our next video. I'll see you next time. Thank you.